So I had a really good conversation with a student of mine who's a senior and is having a very prototypical senior experience when it comes to finding a job. And in her case, really not sure what she wants to do and feeling a lot of anxiety about, this impending date, or impending end of her college career where she's supposed to start her career, right? So, we had a great conversation, but it made me think, that there are, I think, some important things to kind of keep in mind around that doom or that anxiety that starts to build up as you progress through your senior year. And I think for a lot of students, maybe even beforehand. And so I just wanted to share, I think maybe some lessons or some things just to think about to settle those anxieties down a bit. At least I hope so. So there's three reasons that I think a lot of students have that concern as they get closer and closer to graduating and supposed to be starting their, professional career at that point. The first of those three is that, my friends and a lot of my classmates, they know what they want to do, and I just don't know what I want to do yet. I mean, I don't know how many times I've heard students say that I just don't know what I want to do. And kind of the underlying that is that a lot of my classmates do know what they want to do. They're very clear about it, or my friends or roommates or whatever. And for me, it's like, okay, good for them. Good for them that they know. But that doesn't mean that you're less accomplished, less competent, that you're stupid for not knowing. But why do you feel that way? I mean, if it's just simply an issue about that you're jealous, okay, well, I have nothing to help you with that. That's a different podcast, because I think we should always be happy about the people around us. If they are happy, if they have something that they wanted, great for them. But if you're feeling that way because you do feel like you're stupid or you're less competent, or, you haven't, been given the key of, knowledge somehow or something, then that's a whole different story. You shouldn't feel poorly about yourself because you don't know yet what you want to do. That's perfectly fine. You're still in that exploratory, phase, and you may be going through that at a different pace in a different way than other classmates, your friends and roommates and so forth. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. And honestly, even finding a job really early isn't necessarily better. It might be good, but maybe not. Because, a lot of students could come back, had an internship experience, been offered a job, and that weight of I've been offered a job may be too much for them to bear, and they have to say yes. And I know I've had conversations with students like, I've been offered a job. Well, do you want that job? So I don't know, but it's a good company and the pay is good and the experience, but do you want to do that? And I see this internal struggle. Many of them ultimately take the job because it just feels like I should, but so getting that job early may not necessarily be better. It might have been better for them to continue looking, continue growing, continue learning about what they want and finding something later. What's important is it isn't about the speed of the choice, but the fit of the choice that really matters. So again, some people are just blessed in knowing what they want early on. That they start, maybe they came into college knowing I want to do this particular profession or be in this particular industry, and they just got to that point earlier. And other people, may be bouncing around a little bit, trying to figure that out. And again, that's okay. One isn't right and the other one isn't necessarily wrong. But what one needs to do, if that's you, that you're still trying to sort through that, is to make your senior year a very purposeful year about trying to figure that out. And there's lots of ways to do that. There's, continue networking, getting connected to alumni of your program, of your university, and talking to them, what are their career paths? And don't network with just people that you think you have an interest in that career path. Pick other ones. Let's just say there's 5 different career paths in your particular kind of major, your particular field of study. Talk to somebody, find somebody in all of those 5 different ones and learn about what they do and why they picked it, what they enjoy about it, what they don't enjoy about it. Keep that learning going. Go to career fairs, talk to your professors, keep paying attention to other opportunities, join clubs that may be giving you an opportunity to learn about different career paths. Keep learning because you have plenty of time to do that. So just keep at it. A second reason that I know a lot of students have share and have shared with me is that they think that I need to have a job by graduation date, that separates a successful job search from an unsuccessful one. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. And even why is that? Why is it so important that you have a job by this completely arbitrary date of May 14th or June 3rd or May 26th or whatever it might be? Why is that so important? It's a completely arbitrary date that somebody else created. So why is it so important for you to have a job by that date? Can't it happen in June? Can it happen in July? Can it happen in August? It comes from people outside of you. It comes from parents who are saying you need to have a job by the time you graduate. And parents love you, but that's wrong. Okay. Thank you for supporting your student, but don't put that on them. It doesn't have to happen. So I know parents feel that way. I know even colleges do that. For some reason, a lot of colleges will actually, collect data and report it. Like in percent of our students have a job by graduation. So what difference does it make? That doesn't matter. Your career could start a month later, 2 months later, 3 months later. That's fine. 10 years into your career, 5 years into your career. Is anybody going to go back? Yeah, but you started your career in July. Like, yeah, and, I'm your boss. It honestly just doesn't matter when it starts, as long as it starts right and it starts the way you want to go. That's the important piece, not when it starts, but that it starts in the right way in the right path. So the important thing is, on that point, is that just don't let that very arbitrary date really impact how you judge your job search success or strategy, because it just doesn't matter, as I said. But even kind of adding on to that a little bit is that it will be the only time in your entire career that these imposed upon dates on you will impact when you need to find a job. When you are in a career, you're going to find a new job when you've decided you want to find a new job. That can be for multiple reasons why you decide you want to move on, but those are decisions that you're making for yourself, that I want to find a new job. So I'm going to pick it, whether or not that happens in January or March or happens, in July or August. It happens when you want it to happen. And that's going to be the way for the rest of your career, is you're going to find a job when you want to find a job. And success will then never be based on, have I found a job by a specific date? The only time that ever comes up in one's career development is when they're in college. And why is that? I don't know. Well, as I said, there's a lot of reasons why. But it's the only time in your entire career where that will ever exist. Just when you find a job is when you find a job, when you want one. So don't let this kind of, outwardly imposed date really impact you. Don't worry about it. If you find a job 2 weeks after, a month after, 2 months after, as long as you are working towards it and you find the right one, then you're successful. A third reason that I hear from a lot of students is that their first job will set in stone the path of their entire career. And so they're so afraid of making a wrong choice. And no, it doesn't. That doesn't mean that at all. Now, certainly there are some situations, let me back off of that. There might be some situations where that could be not firmly set, but certainly can help you if you find the right job. The first job is the right one. That does help you, but it doesn't absolutely set in stone your direction. It just doesn't. when I think about for myself, when I went to college, my majors were English Lit, French, and history. None of those three have a direct connection to a specific industry, specific profession. So I kind of wandered around a little bit looking for what I wanted to do. I thought about going into the legal profession, become a lawyer. I thought about joining the foreign service. I even took the foreign service exam. Thought about advertising or public relations, pulling on my kind of English and communication kind of interest, and some other ones as well. But then I look at my sisters. I have two older sisters. One knew early on she wanted to go into nursing, go into the medical field, and the other one wanted to go into teaching and become a teacher. And both of them did that, and they stayed in those careers their whole career. They stayed in those fields their whole career. I have bounced around in so many different areas. I've probably maybe you can say I've been in 6 different careers, maybe 5, 6, 7, something like that, and all kind of very different. I don't look back on my career and say I haven't been successful because I've bounced around. I don't think that at all. It was very successful for me because it's what I wanted to do, and I enjoyed it tremendously. I've enjoyed my journey, and it definitely was a journey. I've enjoyed my career that was very different than my sister's and very different from a lot of other people. So you need to find the career that matches what interests you. And it might be very linear. What matters to you might be, starting at ground level and taking the step and doing that kind of typical kind of linear path. But that's not the only one. And so that first job, that you have that belief, and you may have that belief, that first job is going to set in stone where you go and where you'll be 40 years from now. Sorry to say, that's just bullshit, okay? That's just not true at all. Your career needs to match what matters to you. And that first job, for nearly everybody, is not going to set in stone where you go into the future. 99.9% of the people who look at their first jobs, that, it opened up opportunities for the next job, the next question, but it didn't set in stone exactly where I was going to go. So I could continue to go and develop my career in many, many different ways. So don't let that first job and making a mistake really rattle you in trying to just make that first step. Find the first step and take it. I'm sure that there are other reasons why you may be fearful, anxious, concerned about your job search. I get it. Like I said, I've worked with thousands of students and know that they have this angst in them. I can see it in their eyes when I'm talking to them. But just don't let it overwhelm you. Just keep asking questions. Keep moving down the road. Know that there is no definitive date by when, or the definitive decision that's going to craft the rest of your life. It just isn't going to happen that way. So just settle down, relax, keep pursuing it. And I know that you'll find something that is meaningful and that will be the great start to a great career, whatever that may look like.